Good morning, everybody. I am Michael Kittner. It is October 24th, 2015, and I said I would do a video post this morning, and today we're going to talk about the 5Ds. But first, I want to thank everybody for following me on Facebook. I'm overwhelmed, and I want to remind everybody with that note to go over to my new Michael Kittner's Wake Up America page, and let's all just get along over there. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And I will get rid of all the trolls, or my admins will. We don't have time for this. We're here to wake up as many people as we can while we still can. And with that, I want to talk about the 5Ds, the Hegelian Dialect, and their formula: problem, reaction, solution. Now, the Hegelian Dialect, I want you to look that up in the New World Order and research this stuff yourself, because this is what's going on today, and this is the formula that they're using, and this is what it's going to be broken down to, and we're going to go over that. Now, the Hegelian Dialect is an ancient formula that governments have used for thousands of years, long before Jesus Christ was even born. And what they do is they got to keep the people, the masses, in check, because once in a while, when things get boring and everything's okay, people start thinking for themselves. They start questioning their government. They start rising up, and they start civil unrest starts and everything. So the governments, they got to keep the masses and the people in check. And what they do is, well, I'll use for example, back when Jesus Christ lived, when people started rising up, they come out and they killed a bunch of them to remind them, look, we're in charge, and this, if you get out of line, this is what's going to happen to you. And that's what the same thing they're doing today. They're trying to keep us in check. So what they do is they create a problem, knowing the reaction, and already having the solution at hand, ready to go. Now I'll use another example for this. We'll just use 9/11. All right, 9/11. So you got this threat of terrorism. So you create a terrorist, all right? So you create these terrorists, and you create this thing called terrorism, which is in Agenda 21, just like 3 other things that they point out there. And one is alien invasion that they plan on using when all other avenues are exhausted. So you got 9/11. So you create the problem, you create a terrorist group, and you create terrorism. They install the fear into the people, so that the people will go pulling on the government's shirt tail and say, help us, help us, help us. And the government will go, okay, we'll help you. We'll take care of this. But we need to take away some more of your freedoms and liberties in order to do that. Not intended for the enemy. And that's where you got things like the NDAA Act, and you got the Anti-Terrorist Bill and the Patriot Act. None of them are intended for us, or for the enemy. They're intended for us. And if you look it up, the definition of terrorism in the Patriot Act and Anti-Terrorist Bill is anybody who mocks the United States government or anything about Americans against the United States government. It doesn't say anything about an Arab from the Middle Eastern country who worships a false god and follows Islam and is Muslim, and their only goal in life is to kill us, Americans and Christians, and anybody that don't follow Islam. So they have that pointed at us, all right? And what they've done by passing these laws and these bills is taken away more of our freedoms. They haven't done anything to stop terrorism. So they create the problem, which is terrorism, and then they will use 9/11 for an example. So they have these planes go into the Twin Towers, supposedly, and whatever it was that hit in Pennsylvania and the Pentagon, but it wasn't a plane. All right, and they install the fear into the masses. They install the fear into the people. And everybody goes running to the government, and they say, help us, help us, help us. You got to do something. We got to save us. These terrorists, these big bad boogeymen are coming to get us. So the government says, okay, we will. We got this. We got this. And you can see how quickly everybody jumped to it. All these senators and people in our Congress went and signed off on these things and never even read it because all the hype was so pumped up. You know, nobody even remembered what was said on C-SPAN the day before when Donald Rumsfeld came on live TV in front of the whole world and said that we're missing $2.3 million or $2.3 trillion. All right, $2.3 trillion. How do you lose $2.3 trillion? That's like a pallet full of $100 bills stacked on a pallet. Then you double stack those pallets, and then you spread those double pallets of $100 bills throughout 5 football fields. That's how much money they lost. And supposedly the one plane that hit the Pentagon, all right, where did it hit? Out of all the offices and parts of that building, where did it hit? It hit in the record keeping's accounting department that kept track of all this. Who all died in that department? Everyone. All right, so there goes that. Everybody just forgot about the $2.3 trillion. No big deal. We just paid for that. Your kids are going to pay for that. Your kids already owe $53,000 the minute they are born. All right, back on track here. So they pass all these laws, and you see how quick the world leaders were all jump on board. They all stood on stage. All of them stood on stage promising to fight terrorism. All right, it's not working. Just like the war on drugs. So we had the reaction. We had the problem, 9/11. You had the reaction. All right, you knew what the reaction would be. Everybody would be outraged. It was just wrong. What was the solution at hand? Well, we had the Patriot Act, the Anti-Terrorist Bill. We had the NDAA Act. All these things come into place. And what's happened with that? Now we've turned all of our we the people power over to we the government power. We gave it away because of one attack. Now I'm just using this for example. Hypothetically, you can, make your own decision on that. Look it up. Look in this stuff. That's all I can tell you. Don't believe the news. And speaking of the news, they are the biggest role player in all this. And so what they do is they deceive you. They lie to you through propaganda, lies, conditioning, things like that. The lamestream news, notice I said lamestream news because I don't speak that political correctness. I don't speak their language. Don't speak their language. Don't talk like them. Don't say those things like immigration and refugees and, to call it what it is. These people are the lamestream media, the lamestream news. And they're the press, the people that do the commentating on the news stations, like Anderson Cooper and Piers Moron and even Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, the whole gang. Doesn't matter. All right? These people are all the puppets, just like our government. They're all puppets. They're not elected officials. They're not government officials. They're puppets. And the master of puppets that are pulling their strings, this is the New World Order. All right? Same thing with Obama. They're not calling the shots. It's the New World Order is calling the shots. 6 people, 6 families own 99% of everything on this planet. It doesn't matter whether you buy this type of insurance, Allstate or Geico or Progressive, it all goes in the same pockets. All right? It doesn't matter if you buy Burger King or McDonald's or Wendy's, it all goes in the same pockets. It doesn't matter if you buy Pepsi or Coca-Cola or something like that, it all goes in the same pockets. All right? Everything is going in the same pockets. It's all controlled by the same people from the same banks. All right? 6 people against the rest of the world. And in this country, it's 535 people against 350 million people that are controlling us. And they use the media and the news as their outlet of deceiving you and programming you and preconditioning you. And that's what they do. They precondition you so that the next time it happens, you're more acceptable to accepting it. And you get used to it. And pretty soon, you don't even realize how much control you're under you're under a spell. You're being brainwashed. Just think about it. All the people in the world glued to TV sets and not paying attention to what's going outside. Like 110,000 Muslims being smuggled into the United States and being escorted through Mexico. Nobody's looking for them. America's face is buried in their phones, or they're glued to the TV screen, because you got to know what's going to happen next. Just like if you're one of these people that are avid watchers of The Walking Dead, you end that show like, oh man, I gotta wait till next Sunday to watch that show, and you gotta wait, and you gotta wait. You're on the edge of your seat. You're very excited about seeing that next episode, and it's the same thing with the news. And you're watching the Benghazi trials. You're watching Trump on TV. Everybody wants to see what Trump's gonna say next. All right, everybody wants to see what's Hillary Clinton's gonna say next, or what's gonna happen on there. It's the same thing with these false flag shootings. Everybody wants to go see this. People are naturally, for some reason, fueled to go looking at this stuff. And they believe it. That's the sad thing. I just can't believe it. I just wish I could wave a magic wand and put a spell on the whole world or the United States, citizens, like the media does. And with that little wave of the magic wand is wake them up and give them the knowledge that I got from looking into things, instead of just taking the government's or the news word for it. And they got their little, so they're like the pimps. The government's like the pimps. They got their prostitutes. All right, now I'm not talking politically correct here now. So the prostitutes, the ones that are reporting all this news, they're selling themselves to you like a prostitute. They're selling themselves to you. And I guess some people, they're attractive and appealing. Not to me, because I can see right through them. I don't even need to know all the stuff that I know to know that these people are lying. You can see right through them. Same thing with these crisis actors and these fake shootings and these fake bombings. Where do they get these people? I mean, I've seen better actors on Days of Our Lives and on, it's probably going to tick all the women off, but on the Family Life Network. Or whatever it is that you girls watch all the time there with those, low budget movies and these actors, these old washed up wannabe has-been actresses, okay, but if that's what you like, more power to you. I like watching football and things like that. So many people might not like to watch football. But anyhow, back to this. So you have the Hegelian Dialect, the problem, reaction, solution. Now, the government had a solution. Well, their solution was to trick us into going along with them because we were on the verge of being attacked again. This time it could be nuclear, or something like that. So Americans were quick to hand over all their freedoms and liberties, which we don't have anymore. We have the First, Second, Third, Fourth, Fifth Amendments, all of them. They're all stripped away from us except for the Second. That's the last standing amendment. We're going to get to that in a minute. All right, I brought my magic markers here today. I got my shirt on. I don't know if you guys like that or not. That's probably going to get me thrown in jail just for having that, because it says in the Patriot Act and the Anti-Terrorist Bill that I'm a terrorist. All right, so we got the Deceive, the media, and these people are the biggest problem. I mean, the biggest problem in this country. And if somebody was running for president, I would think that they would mention all these things about the news. All right, I know Donald Trump's been attacking the news and getting in his little digs here and there. And if you notice, he's saying some of these things about these news outlets. But we got to remember, he's saying everything that we want to hear. He's running for president. He's a billionaire. He's a very successful man. And he didn't get there by not being able to talk a smooth talk. Now, I hate to see Americans being led to slaughter again by somebody who's a smooth talker. Now, if you remember, when Obama ran, he's a pretty good smooth talker. He's still smooth talking people out there. He's still got people following him. He's still got supporters. And if you look at these people in the audience, they're clapping and cheering and carrying on for this guy. These people are doomed. All right? Because he's a smooth talker. You got to admit it. He's smooth. So's Donald Trump. He's saying everything we want to hear. But except for this time, it's not the Democrats or the Demorats or the Democrips, like Jesse Ventura likes to call them. That's what I like to call them. And the Republicans. They're just two gangs. Two gangs. The Crips and the Bloods. But at the highest level. They're like the mafia. They're like the mob. You know what I mean? They're all criminals, man. I don't trust none of them. I'm sorry, I don't trust. The two things I don't trust most, three things on this planet, is the press, the government, and the Muslims. That's just mine. All right, so they're using I'm sorry, this is funny. I'm just thinking about all those Obama supporters. They're cheering this guy on. They know nothing about him, nothing about his past. They are so far gone. All right, now we gotta go over distract. All right, so you got distract. There's another D. And distract you, and that's where the 9/11 comes in. All these school shootings and Black Lives Matter, whatever. Cops getting shot. They distract us. They're distracting us now. What Trump is distracting us from what's really going on. You know, when they got these Benghazi hearings, it's the only thing on TV all day long. And people are glued to the TV, getting brainwashed, getting filled up on their magic potion that keeps them in their spell. They're getting filled up. Just like you go to the gas station, you fill the car up with gas. Well, people go to the TV and they get filled up with poison. A spell put on them by our government and the media so they distract you. Whenever things are kind of quiet, you notice, and there's no shootings on TV, there's nothing really big to report, bam, they come up with the next episode. Lifestyles of the rich and controlling. And what they do is they keep you on the edge of your seat. They keep you glued to the brainwashing machine, to that distraction. They're distracting us in so many ways right now. You know, while everybody's watching the next distraction, who knows what they're doing behind our backs, all right? We got to remember, the stage is being set for World War III over in Syria. For the whole time this hearing's going on, nobody's getting the news about what's going on over there. Now you look at all these other distractions that they've used over the last few months or years. You got Ebola. Whatever happened to Ebola? I guess they just found a cure for it, or it just went away. These planes, the missing planes. Whatever happened to those missing planes? All right? These are the types of things I'm talking about. Whatever happened to these things? The main thing I want to know is whatever happened to Fukushima, because it's still leaking all over the damn planet. All right? You can go out there and stand on the Pacific Ocean at the beach over in California and hold up a Geiger counter and pick it up. All they do is keep raising the levels up. And so everybody's like, oh, okay, it's safe now. The government said it's safe. No, it's not safe. You know what I mean? Whatever happened to Fukushima? It's still leaking all over the place. If people knew what they're being exposed to all the way from the Kansas-Colorado border all the way west, to California, to the Pacific Ocean, from Alaska all the way down in San Diego, if these all the way out to, you know, El Paso, Texas, that whole area, all them states, you guys are all being exposed to Fukushima radiation. And I want to eat a fish out of the ocean right now if it was the last meal on earth. People are crazy. Nobody's talking about that. All right? Nobody's talking about anything. And these presidential candidates, they're not talking about this. They're not talking about Fukushima. They're talking about climate change and global warming. They're talking about you know, this and that, the border and all that, but nobody's talking about Fukushima. This is what I'm talking about. Nobody's talking about World War III. Been done, started. So they distract you. They put out one of these. They run with these stories with the cops getting killed. You know, it's always not a cop killed a person. It's a white cop killed a black guy. All right, things like that. You see how they manipulate you and deceive you. All right, with their propaganda and their lies, and they distract you with all this nonsense on the TV because everybody's watching the TV. And then what they do is they divide us. But they divide us. The last thing they want to do is have us all on the same page, having us all getting along, all of us gathering together and rising up together as one nation. Imagine that, 350 million people. So they keep us divided. They keep us in these little groups, and they label us conservatives, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, you know, Tea Party. You know, they put us in all these categories. And they got us in white people and black people and Hispanic people. Then they got us in Christians and Catholics, and they're just categorizing us is what they're doing, making you think that you are a part of something or that you are a specific something, when in fact we're not. We're all humans. All right, we're all brothers and sisters of the Lord. We all bleed red, but there are some of us that are good and some of us that are evil. There are some of us that know what's going on here, and some of us don't. And this thing with the Black Lives Matter, for instance, all right, there are black people out there that know enough to know what's going on here, that the government is using the media to keep us distracted by deceiving us, and in turn it's dividing us. Black people know that. A lot of black people, and they know that this is all propaganda to keep us divided. They know that it's just a drive to get rid of our guns for the gun grab. And they know that we don't want the gun grab, that they need to keep the Second Amendment. They know what the Confederate flag really is about. They know what the history behind the Confederate flag is really about. And not only are they not involved with these other blacks who don't, but they're also standing with us, white people, or I don't want to come across as racist or anything like that, because I'm not. And, you know, they know what's going on. But these guys out, and you see out in the streets, running around with Black Lives Matters, they don't have a clue. They're not with us. They're not on the same page. They're not being part of the united we stand, divided we fall. We all have to live in this country together. We all need to get along. We all need to be on the same page. But some of us aren't on that page. They have no idea what they're talking about. The Confederate flag is not racist. The Confederate flag isn't even the official Confederate flag. All right? It's the Tennessee battle flag. Now, you look up the definition of what the Southern Cross means. All right? This is all about God. This is their tradition. All right? And the whole Civil War wasn't about freeing the slaves. All right, people get that right. The Civil War was about Southern states wanted to keep the power of the people within the states. They didn't want to federalize a government like the North did. The North wanted to federalize the country, have federal oversight rather than have the power within the states. So you think about that, really, and I support everything there is about the Confederate flag. And I know what the truth is in the American history and the tradition behind it and everything there is about it. And the people that don't really need to look it up, all right, and get on the same page. And I'm not being racist or anything like that when I say that maybe it wouldn't have been such a bad idea if the South would have won, because look where we're at now. We've got way too much government, way too much federal overreach, and the power of the people has been lost and shifted over to the power of the government. So really, if the South would have won, and maybe we wouldn't be in this position where we're at today. And people say, well, no, that then the slaves would have never gotten free. Come on, look where we're at today. I mean, there really isn't racism. It's too minimal. It wasn't even around until Obama came back. Everybody was getting along. They still are getting along. The only ones that ain't getting along are the people that were baited by the race baiters and are under their little spell. The rest of us are all getting along. I got black friends, and I know black people. They know what's going on. They know about the Confederate flag. There's one that lives up the street from me, 10 houses up. He's got a big old four-wheel drive mudding truck and a nice old muscle car up there, and he drives around town with 2 Confederate flags flying out the back of his pickup. You tell me. All right. So the black people are out there running around with the Black Lives Matter. They really got to get off the street, go home, get on Google, get on there, and look up the stuff I'm talking about. Get off the street. There's other things that we need to be out there in the street protesting, other than that nonsense. I'm sorry, but we're this close to being martial law and disarmed, and we'll never get that chance back again. And I think that's the most important thing that's going on right now. And we all need to unite, put aside all that crap, and stop being baited by the government and the news. Just get along and rise up and vote these people out, throw them out, whatever you want to do. The Constitution says you can do either. All right? So they divide us like Black Lives Matter. They divide us with the whole religion thing. They divide us every way you can think about it. They are constantly dividing us. And they're driving a wedge in there. Just like they're driving in a wedge in the middle class. They're driving it in there. They're separating the middle class. You're either going to make it or you're going to go down to the poor class. They want to do away with the middle class. Anytime a politician talks about they're doing something for the middle class, or they're running on something and how something's going to help the middle class, they're lying. Red flag go up right there for you. They're lying. And that's what they do, is they divide us. And it's working. They're deceiving us. It's working. They're distracting us. It's working. They're dividing us. It's working. Now this one is working too. Even though it's not in a D, start with the letter D. It's in here because it's derived from that word, doctrine. So the indoctrinate. I hope I spelled this wrong. Right? Doctrinate. There's your D on that one. That is working because what they have is Common Core. And what they have in our colleges is a bunch of liberal college professors teaching things we shouldn't be teaching college students who are getting an education and are eventually going to be the leaders of this country. Same thing with our children. This Common Core, how come nobody's talking about Common Core? All right? Why aren't these politicians and these candidates talking about real issues like Fukushima, New World Order, Agenda 21, North American Union? These things are, something they should be talking about. Even the central banking system, the IMS, the Fed. We need to get rid of the Fed. We need to get rid of these giant banks and these giant companies, man. They control everything. They control the money, the wars, elections, the weather. So, this Common Core thing, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed about this, and I'm going to tell you why. Because this is not education at all. They are purposely, and Obama, this government, the New World Order, they are purposely making our kids stupid. So there's no chance that they succeed later on in life when they get out of high school. They are not going to make it. I'm sorry to tell you. They are not going to make it in this world. They don't stand a chance. unless their mothers and fathers or the kid itself are taking the time to get an education outside of that school. Because when you go into these schools and they're teaching Common Core and you're allowing your child to go in there, you are consenting, you are complying with the brainwashing of your child. And I just don't get it. I don't get why teachers in the schools and the principals and the superintendents and the people in the community allow this to take place. I don't understand that at all. I cannot believe of a lot of things that's going on in this country that parents, teachers, super board, the superintendent, the school board members, and the people that are elected officials in the towns and the counties and the state. I don't know how they can sit by and allow this to happen. I think that no in there. Indoctrinate. That was right. Sorry about that. Keep thinking about it. All right, so I don't see why people are just sitting back and letting this happen. I don't understand that at all. You're allowing your children to go to school every day and not get an education. Not only are they not getting an education, but they are being made more and more stupid. And I'm sorry to say it like that. I'm not saying your kids are stupid. Don't attack me on that, please. I'm not saying anybody's kids are stupid, but that's what they're doing, is they're making your kids more stupid than the rest of the world who are actually getting an education. They're actually using mathematics, the universal language, the way that it was designed to be learned is the way that we know our math. And they've totally changed that. And the stuff that they're teaching in schools about Islam and I can't believe that people are allowing this to take place. I would think that all things that everybody would unite at once and say, we're not taking our kids. Nobody. For most people, it's just a place for them to send your kids to a babysitter all day while they work or sit on Facebook or whatever it is that they do all day. But I don't understand how they do that. How can you send your kid to a school to get brainwashed? We're already last I checked, 26 in the world in education. And the rest of the world is surpassing us. Now is not the time for us to teach our kids what they're teaching our kids. Now is the time for us to double up. It's just my personal opinion. Kids should be in the school around the clock all year long. Not like around the clock, but Monday through Friday. They should have the summer vacation and spring breaks and all that. You know what I mean? A couple weeks in the summer so the family can go on vacation. Christmas vacation, Thanksgiving, everything like that. But to, miss all these days off, that whatever, they got this list of dates that the kids are allowed off school. Half that stuff they don't even need off school for. They don't need off school all summer long. Couple 2, 3, 4 weeks should be more than enough to go do the things with the family during the summer because our education is that important. The success of this country and the future of this country is that important. I'm sorry, but they're not teaching kids what they need to be teaching. So I don't understand why people just don't yank their kids out of school. Everybody yank their kids out of school at once and say, we're not putting our kids back into the schools until you guys fix this problem. Put things back the way they were. Have people doing the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. Allow people to pray. Christian people to pray in school if they want, or whatever. You look at the big picture of the past and now. If it's working, don't fix it. All right? And this is what they did. They think that they fixed something that was working. You look at this country when it was a lot about Christianity, and there wasn't all these abortions going on, wasn't all this gayness going on, and these same-sex marriages never even thought of and heard of, and we had people praying, and people were The churches were packed, and now you look at it, churches are closing down. Acceptable, everybody's conditioned to the point where it's okay to be gay, it's okay to have an abortion. And look at this country now compared to then. It's on a downward spiral. And if you look at it going into this, you know, over the last 20 years, it's just gone downhill a lot faster and faster. We're sinking ourselves further into debt. We're losing our children to indoctrination. And we're getting divided. All these things are going on. The government is winning. We're losing here. We're losing big time. But there's one thing we can't lose, or we're screwed. We cannot lose our guns. Now, I'm not one of those gun fanatics like a lot of people are. I don't own dozens and dozens of guns, and I don't got all these, you know, fancy, ugly, scary machine guns or anything like that. Alright, but I do have the Constitution hanging on my kitchen wall, and it hangs above my garbage can, because every time I go to the garbage, I will be reminded of the garbage that we have in office and the government that we have running this country, and all the elected officials who sit there and do nothing while our country burns to the ground. And in this Constitution, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And in it, you'll see the big blue area here. This is, bam, the blueprint and foundation of our country, and what so many men and women have died for, and what our founding fathers fought and died for, and ran back a tyrannical leader, tyrant, back across the ocean to England, where he belongs. And the reason they put this here was because they wanted to make sure that this never happened again in the future, that we would have our freedoms and liberties stripping away and be under power of a ruthless dictator, which we are today. And all these amendments they put in there, they put them in there for a reason, so that we would be guaranteed that these never be taken away from us, because it would give too much power to the government and none to the people. And they're all gone, except for the Second Amendment. And I'm going to read this to you. A well-regulated militia. Now, that's an ugly word, right? Militia? A well-regulated militia. A well-regulated militia. Being necessary. You have to have it to the security of a free state. To secure a free state. To keep your state free. To know that you are secure and safe to remain free in your state. Or in the state of being free. The right of the people, the right, can't be taken away. It's your right to keep, no one can take them away, and bear arms, to show arms, to have arms, display arms, take arms with you, bear arms, alright? Shall not be infringed, taken away, modified, anything like that. Shall not be anything. Plain and simple. Now, it must have been pretty important if they put it in the number 2 spot, right behind the number 1 spot, which was, you know, the freedom of press. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So you got Obamacare, pays for abortions. Alright. They made a law Congress did. Right here it says it. Respecting an establishment of religion. Christians don't believe that people should be able to so freely go get abortions. All right? Why should they have to pay for them? It's their right not to. All right? Or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. May have made a mistake on that one. Huh? All right. Or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which they don't listen to any of our petitions. They don't listen to our phone calls and emails. They don't listen to us. They're just doing what they want. They have an agenda. They have a political career that they got to keep going and keep furthering, and they could care less about you and I. They just want to tell you what you want to hear. All right? Just to get them voted in an office, and then you can't get them out. And this next time, we're not even probably going to ever get this Obama out of office. So, you know, freedom of speech don't exist anymore either. You got the free speech zones, which can be declared by a Secret Service agent. Somebody just, Secret Service agent, could pull up in your neighborhood and put up some yellow tape and say, you're not allowed to talk in this area right here. Now, the free speech zone, according to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, is from Canada to Mexico, from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. All right, and it says a well-regulated mission, being the necessary of the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, shall not be infringed, shall not be taken away, shall not be stripped from you, shall not be modified. All right, so when they say that you can only have this type of gun and it can only hold this many bullets, it's being infringed. Or they're telling you, you got to register a gun if it's this type of gun, if it holds this many bullets, it's being infringed. If they tell you that you can't have this type of gun, that it's against the law to have that, it's being infringed. And even, I'll even go as far to say, if you've been convicted of a felony, your right has been infringed. Because if you're convicted of a felony where you actually took a gun and used it unlawfully, killed somebody for no reason whatsoever, or you used it in holding up a bank, or if you took that gun and went and raped some woman or something like that, the people that use the guns to deprive somebody else of their rights of freedom and liberty, and they break in the law by doing that, or another law, or a series of laws, then yes, they should be punished, and they should be not allowed to have guns because they abused it. They can't be trusted. They broke the law. But then there's people that have been convicted of a felony, maybe drug related or DUI or who knows. There's a long list of crimes that you can commit, and they actually are labeled as a felony. That they can harm you for the rest of your life. You won't be allowed to vote. You won't be allowed to purchase and own a firearm. You won't be allowed to leave the country. They won't be allowed to hold city, state, or offices like that. You'd have to check from state to state. But these people are punished for the rest of their lives from now on. And at what point do the society say, okay, they've paid their debt to society, it's okay for them to have a gun? And if it's not gun related, why shouldn't they be able to have guns? Now, if you have a guy that's 18 years old and he goes out and makes a mistake and he gets busted for drugs or something like that, and he gets a felony, and then so he's not allowed to own a gun or go hunting or defend himself and his family and his kids for the rest of his life because of that drug charge. And if so, then how long would that be till he is forgiven by society? Does he have to go on 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? What if this guy, let's say, for instance, got off the drugs, he was clean for 10 years, he didn't drink or do drugs, and then he became really successful, started his own business, and made 6 figures a year, and he's an active member of the community, did a lot of stuff, and all these things. At what point would this guy be forgiven that he should be able to own a gun? All right. So they got all these rules and regulations and modifications and stipulations and everything else that they have done to the Second Amendment when it clearly says that right should not be infringed. Now, if they disarm us, we're screwed. We're going to lose everything. And remember that, Hitler during the Holocaust, remember studying that in school? He got 6 million people to follow blindly and not fight back. Well, then we realize today that we are watching our fellow Americans uh, do the same thing. They're believing the news, they're believing the government about these shootings, and they're going to disarm us. And once we have the Second Amendment gone, it's gone forever. Once we have the Second Amendment out of the way, we won't be able to get it back. Once they get the guns, we won't be able to get it back. That's the only one we got left. It's the Second Amendment. We can't let them take it. It is people's rights, and it's not intended solely upon protecting you and your family from being robbed at night or some person coming in to rape you or your wife or your daughter. It's not solely to do all these things in hunting and sporting. They don't give us these hunting rights. All right? The founding fathers and the framers of the Constitution did not put that in there solely so that we could go hunt and get critters and such and be able to stop intruders in the middle of the night. They put that in there because they fought hard and a lot of people died to get us to be able to be free and be at liberty to do what we want. And these are God-given rights, and they are unalienable God-given rights. And they were put in the Constitution. Yeah, we got to have laws. Yeah, we got to have rules, and we got to live by to keep others from interfering with our freedoms and liberties. And that's what the government is doing. They're interfering with our freedoms and liberties, and we can stop them, but we can't stop them without the guns. And our founding fathers fought off England and the King of England and the tyrant and ran him back across the ocean. It was with the guns. We've won all these wars with guns. All right? We can't let the government take the guns. As a matter of fact, you should get as many guns as you can, because according to the Constitution and why they wrote it, it was because to keep future generations, ones like ours, should we ever come to this point in history where we encounter the problem where the government is getting too big for their britches and making all these stupid laws that they don't even follow, and then they open up the borders and they allow an invasion to take place within our country, and they paying for all these wars, and you're paying for all these Muslim people and these terrorist groups. We're funding and we're arming with guns better than ours, and their only purpose in life is to come back over here and kill us with them. That does not make sense to me. This government's out of control. They can't balance a checkbook. They got our borders wide open. They're nothing but 535 tyrants, and they're all got strings tied to them to be puppets to the ones who are really calling the shots, because society's getting too comfortable. People are waking up, and people are starting to think about rising up. They're talking about revolution. They're talking about violent armed revolution. And it's not just here, it's all across the globe. You see the protests taking place. You see what's going on in Sweden. You see what's going on in Germany. You see what's going on here. There are millions and billions of people that are sitting around oiling their guns with itchy fingers. In the countries that are having the problems right now the most, that are crying out for help, and they aren't able to do anything, that people have to sit back and watch it, it's because they're already disarmed. Australia, Sweden, and all these other countries, they're already disarmed, and they don't stand a chance. And you remember, it's not the gun, it's the person behind the gun. So even if these school shootings were real, even if all these officers and everything that's going on, you just don't know. The news lies so much. It's better not just to not believe them than it is to believe them. And then, it's the person behind the gun. It's not the gun's fault. There are people that own guns for 40 years or more, and sat in their closet, and they've gone to work every day, Not once has that gun got up by itself and went out into the streets and started shooting people. Nobody's guns get up by themselves and go into schools and start shooting up kids. All right? No gun gets out of a gun cabinet and goes into a theater and kills a bunch of people. Guns don't have the power to do that. It's the people behind them. Yes, you're going to have crazy people. Yes, you're going to have school shootings. Yes, you're going to have uh, mass shootings and people shooting at colleges and theaters and stuff. You're going to have that. But out of the 85 million gun owners in America yesterday, only 13 people died. Now, I'm sure if you were to look up them stats, I bet you more people were killed yesterday by knives than guns. So we don't go around outlawing knives, do we? What about drunk drivers? We don't go around there outlawing them. And if everybody wants to be so damn, what do you call it, righteous about stopping things that are killing people, innocent people, you want to talk about doing something to stop people from getting murdered and killed and children from getting murdered and killed. Well, we could start with, per se, the biggest problem, abortion. That would be a good place to start, since we've already lost a third of our generation to abortion, and it's so easily and nicely accepted today that responsible adults, instead of being responsible, be irresponsible, and then it's okay, just okay to kill a life. I don't get it. I don't get where this country's headed. I don't get the people in it. I don't get why people don't know about the same stuff I do. I don't even have a high school diploma. I don't have a college degree. I'm just some ordinary guy, That's a wait. I'm a wait. I look outside my window and I see that we're being invaded by people who don't want to kill us. And when I see what's going on in the world today, and I realize that everything that's in the Bible is being played out right in front of us, I'm gonna wait. And when I see 300 million Americans being led to slaughter, I'm really awake. I'm not going to be one of those people that are led to slaughter. And I hope you aren't either. So I suggest everybody do the following things. I can't tell other people what to do, but realize about the problem, reaction, solution formula in government and the media's role in that. Look up the Hegelian Dialect and you'll find out what I'm talking about. Beware of these 5 Ds, because they are all happening right now as we speak. Deception, they're distracting us, they're dividing us, they're indoctrinating us, and they're trying to disarm us. Alright, people, you'll get nothing accomplished, nothing back if they disarm us. And it's coming. They're going to do it. They're going to try to do it. You can bet. They are in the works of doing it. Everybody asks me, well, who's going to do it? It's not going to be our American military or soldiers. But remember, one thing you got to remember is like what happened with Hitler. All right? They were ordered to kill people. I imagine there was the first guy up there that was a good person. And Hitler gave the orders, I want you to kill that person. He says, okay. So he tells the next chain of command, you kill that person. He said, well, they didn't do nothing. Can't we just put them in the prison or something like that? Why do we got to kill them? They're not any threat to us. Bang! So the soldier gets it. And the soldier gets thrown right on the pile with the Jews. What do you think the next soldier is going to do when he's ordered? All right, then you go over there and kill him. He's got 2 choices. He can kill him and do what he's told and be what he's ordered to do, or he's going on the pile with the Jews. do you think he's going to do? Live another day? Or is he going to throw in the towel and get thrown on the pile of the Jews? All right? So you gotta watch, what you believe. You gotta watch what you trust here, the people you trust. Anybody that's not up there on politicians that are talking about the Second Amendment and the people's right to bear arms, first and foremost, big red flag going up. That's what you should be talking. You should be here. These candidates, you want to know what these candidates are saying about the Second Amendment and gun rights before all other things. Before the Muslim invasion, because you need your guns. Before the checkbook being balanced, because you need your guns. Before the NDAA Act, because you need your guns. Because of Obamacare, you need your guns. Everything points back. You're not going to be able to enforce nothing as a society, as we the people. You cannot enforce the government to do anything if you don't have a way for them. If you ain't got your guns, what are you going to say? Stop that, government! Or I'll say stop again. Yeah, real intimidating, right? Don't let them take the guns. I have a feeling we're going to be needing them any day now.